Teacher pay, money, money, money. Everybody wants more money. Teacher pay is always a big issue, and this is a stakeholder argument or discussion from the Center for Educational Compensation Reform. It talks about money and some emerging issues when it deals with money. Whenever someone says, I'm doing it for the love of teaching, my hat's off to you. But I've also had people in the soccer community who will say, I referee for the love of the children. I'm doing this for the love of the game. I work on cars because I love working on cars. Let's not kid ourselves. Money is a major factor. So let's get away from the idea that we're all doing this for the good of society. Yes, we all love to teach and we all love to work in education. However, money is a factor. And otherwise, you would do this as a hobby, and you would come whenever you want to, and like go on a Monday and teach a couple of classes. But money is a big issue. So let's look at how this is from the Center of Educational Compensation, and they're going to talk about some trends when it comes looking at money. A growing number of states and school districts are experimenting with new approaches to paying teachers. So what we're looking at is how do we compensate our teachers? Can we encourage teachers to work harder by paying them more? And what should we pay when it comes to teachers? So, design a suitable pay plan. State and district policymakers develop a compensation reform plan to accomplish a specific goal on purpose. For example, a governor may pursue compensation reform to attract teachers to areas facing teacher shortages. So let's take this national article and move it towards Mississippi. As we know that Mississippi has encouraged teachers to teach in the Delta by doing some scholarships programs where they will pay off your teacher scholarships, like the William Winter, if you go work in a needs area. Pretty good, really good idea. It's a great idea. You can, in fact, you really can get a graduate degree or a master's degree from Mississippi State, from any college in Mississippi, by using some of these scholarship programs. There's the Mississippi Teacher Fellowship Program, which encourages people to work in critical needs area, and they receive a free master's degree and a laptop. As active participants in the design process, stakeholders can inform a pay plan and ultimately improve the sustainability of its design. Educators tend to value equity in the design of a teacher pay plan. The situation can lead to concerns about pay plans that exclude certain teachers. So teachers, for the most part, like everyone to be involved in a pay plan. Teachers have challenged pay plans due to questions about the objectivity of award criteria. And this is something that's very important that we see throughout our education field, is how do we give teachers who work harder and they receive awards more money? Is that really fair? And teachers get upset about that. Schools and districts are wary of pay plans that generate compensation among teachers. A statewide pay plan developed in Florida generated strong opposition from school boards and teachers because it restricted awards to the top 10% of teachers based on student performance. Should we tie in our teacher pay based on student performance? Communication of the plan is also important. If we're going to do merit pay, if we're going to have evaluations, we need to communicate that and talk to the teachers. Stakeholders need to be aware of this. Where's the money going to come from? In Minnesota, several school districts channeled all communication regarding their compensation plans through a committee of organization that represent a broad range of stakeholders. So you're going to need some really good forms of communication there. Key aspects of emerging stakeholders. Recognize the different roles of stakeholders. Designing the plan, informing the design. And that's what Mississippi's been doing lately, is you're going to hear about teacher pay, and then you hear that they've created a blue ribbon committee or a blue ribbon panel or all this stuff. And you think, well, okay, that's fine. It's full of teachers. Actually, it's not. It's usually full of a lot of stakeholders. They'll have bank presidents. They'll have people, and you're thinking, well, this is just a committee designed for the governor's favorites. And that's really not the case. They're trying to get the stakeholders involved, because if the stakeholders are involved, they will encourage the pay raise. If you have 20 teachers on a board and 20 teachers vote for merit pay, that's fine and dandy. But if you have a president of the local bank in Tupelo, Mississippi who votes for the pay raise, then he can go off to his community and spread the word in a different sector. So it looks like we're, as teachers, are not begging for the pay raise. It looks like stakeholders are saying that there needs to be a pay raise. informing the design. It talks about how you can do that. Involve stakeholders early is also very important. Right now, Mississippi is going through a charter school program, and according to the bills that have been passed, they're creating a committee. And it's going to be full of stakeholders who are going to decide how we're going to do the charter schools. Allow sufficient time for collaboration, but not too much time. We don't want too much time. Substantial time may be needed to work out differences among stakeholders and reach a consensus. Teacher pay issues can be fairly contentious, with stakeholders often holding strong opinions about how teacher pay should be structured. Establishing a goal for collaboration, formalizing the decision process, and then you come to your conclusion. So this gives you kind of an idea of how we need to approach teacher pay. We'll have other articles, of course, about merit pay, which is a big controversy. How do I pay teachers more money based on how hard they work? But this whole section, this module, is about stakeholders. And this article looks at how do we get stakeholders involved in teacher pay. The most important thing is we need to make sure that we do not have teachers saying, here's our plan for teacher pay for teachers. We need the stakeholders involved, because if the stakeholders are involved, then they can encourage, and it looks like it's an outside in. The outside stakeholders are saying we need better teacher pay. Get the stakeholders involved, and it'll always help your teacher pay situation. Article was published in 2009. It's a nationwide article. We can look at what Mississippi's doing. Mississippi, because of the Race to the Top grant that we did not receive, one aspect of the Race to the Top grant said that Mississippi and all states who wanted it had to have a merit pay system for teacher pay. When the new governor took office, in his inaugural address, he stated that we were going to have a merit pay system. That was kind of a shout out to the federal government. Hey, next time you have a Race to the Top grant, we are working on a merit pay system, so please consider us to have met that objective. The merit pay system has not taken place yet. There has been some controversy over teacher pay recently in Mississippi. In the past, it's always been big. One discussion that they've had was they had a blue ribbon committee that set up on teacher pay in 2007, 2008, and they said that alternate route certification should receive less pay, and the traditional route should receive more pay, and that was immediately shot down and thrown away very fast. But our governor at the time and our current governor continues to make the argument that teachers are not paid enough, so we need to increase the pay across the board. So instead of having a $30,000 start pay where good teachers make 32 and 33, they're saying we need to get the base pay up no matter what. It looks like we're getting away from the teacher pay argument in Mississippi. We definitely are getting away from the argument, and we're moving towards a charter school argument. This will do two things, a charter school argument will. One thing it'll do is it's going to move us towards another discussion on where private and public education. Second thing is the charter schools are going to hurt our PERS retirement system because there'll be less people paying in. So if a teacher goes to the private school and works at a charter school, will their PERS retirement go with them? Right now it looks like it will not. So if you have more teachers working in the charter schools, that's going to put less income coming into the PERS system. So it's very interesting what's going on with all that, and it's really a good time to be in Mississippi or watching the education system in Mississippi, because it's really an interesting situation going on. Teacher pay is always a volatile issue. People like to discuss it, like to argue it. I like to just tell all my teachers, if you're starting out, you're going to make $30,000 a year, and that's take home around $1,850 after taxes. So you're going to make about $1,850 net a month, and that's how that works. And it's not much, and it needs to be a lot more. One person said the simplest solution is to start pay at $50,000 and go from there. That would be, and it would take a major commitment from our legislators and our state of Mississippi. Hope you enjoyed the article and hope it got your mind racing about teacher pay. But this talks about how to get our stakeholders involved. We don't need just teachers on the board, we need stakeholders.